Director of Membership Services, Katie Weber, had the pleasure of talking with 2014 CWPA Hall of Fame inductee and former Naval Academy head coach, Mike Schofield.
All right, so first question, how did you get involved coaching water polo, and where did you coach before coming to Navy?
I started coaching right after I graduated from college. I graduated from the University of Pittsburgh in 1979, and our coach there was Jay Fassett, who's now a pretty prominent politician down here in Arlington, Virginia. Jay coached at Pitt my senior year and then moved to San Francisco, so I kind of inherited the Pittsburgh Renegades Club, which ironically was started by Mike Graff, who's now the chairman of the board of U.S. Water Polo. So we ran a club program primarily in the summertime, and I had been doing that all through college and kind of took over the coaching and playing a little bit in 79, 80, 81, and started refereeing at the collegiate level. And Paul Barron, who everybody's familiar with, actually recommended me for the job at the Naval Academy. And so I left my high school teaching and coaching job in Pittsburgh. I was at North Hills High School at the time and enlisted in the Navy and came down to the Naval Academy after a little trip to boot camp in Great Lakes, Illinois.
And how long were you at Navy for?
1982 is when I started. I retired from coaching there in 2013, so 31 years.
What's your best moment so far as a coach?
You know, with the benefit of a lot of hindsight, I'd say I keep having my best moments every time I have a chance to interact with some of our former players and relive some of the enjoyable experiences that we shared together, telling some funny stories. And so I think right now the enjoyable moments continue every time I get to interact with a former player or anybody that was involved with our program over the years. And fortunately, that happens a lot.
Now, as a longtime coach and now coming back into the referee ranks, what kind of advice would you give to coaches that are trying to deal with the refs, that they don't agree with some of the calls, or having their team's kind of struggling with getting used to the type of officiating, because it varies from region to region throughout the country slightly. So what kind of advice would you give to a coach in that type of situation?
Well, the first thing I would say is do as I say, not as I did, because I probably caused a lot of aggravation for my own team, for our players, and some referees as well. So I'm certainly coming at this from a sinner's perspective. But I think the best thing you can do is make sure that your team knows that you're not focused on the referees, but you're focused on them. And when you are interacting with the referees, and again, I come fully prepared to acknowledge my weaknesses. Be respectful. Try not to make it personal. And if you disagree with something that was called, you make your point. Hopefully, they'll take on your input and move on. I think the ideal that I like to try and point at as a referee or even as a former coach, if you watch an NBA game in professional basketball, and the referees and the coaches and the players, probably 99% of the time, and they're on national TV, everything is on camera, the interactions in the NBA between the referees and the coaches are a model for what I think our sport should strive for. They do try to generally show mutual respect. You'll see a referee put his arm around the coach, not affectionately, but just to let him know that he's listening and turn his head. Sometimes you'll see the referee that was not involved with the call go and kind of calm down the coach that feels like he was aggrieved. And I think that's the model that we want to strive for. And I'm not the poster child for that, certainly.
But it's great to have your perspective as being someone, you know, who's been in the game for so long as a coach and has that refereeing experience as well, because you've seen both sides of the playing field in that regard.
Right. Well, as my mom always says, you can't put an old head on young shoulders, and so here you have an old head on old shoulders. You know, if I knew some things 15, 20, 30 years ago that I think I know now, probably would have gone better for everybody. But
yeah, well, I'm happy to have you involved, Phil.
Great.